Okay, so The Heist. This is the first DLC pack released in the expansion pass called The City That Never Sleeps for Marvel's Spider-Man. Now, I was originally going to do a more in-depth video about this DLC pack, something more akin to my other Spider-Man videos on this channel, but honestly, after playing through this twice, I've decided that I'm going to keep the full analysis for a larger video covering the entire City That Never Sleeps once it's all out and together in December. Now that kind of leads me into my sort of quick take for The Heist. If you don't want any spoilers at all, I'm not spoiling much in this video regardless, it's really just going to be kept very general, but if you want to know nothing about it, my quick take is don't get it yet. Wait on it, wait until it's a full expansion pass. Otherwise, I think you're not getting a ton, especially if you're like pocketing out the $10 that this costs. Now, if you already bought the 24, I would still say, like, if you can wait until it's all together to finally pick up and play it, I would. It'll probably feel a lot more satisfying that way, because the way that this ends isn't really, I wasn't crazy about it. I guess it kind of makes sense in retrospect, but at the time it's not exactly what I was expecting, and it felt very abrupt and a little cheap. So I'd say wait on it, you know, get some mileage out of the new game plus that was added in, you know, play around with the new photo mode filters and everything like that. It'll feel like a more complete package if you just wait until the Heist, Turf Wars, and Silver Lining are all together. Now, with that out of the way, I am going to get into some very, very light spoilers, if you could even consider them spoilers. Just kind of covering some of the things I did and didn't like about the Heist. So, with that out of the way, the story is not bad. Again, it's not a full story. It's not a fully written narrative. It's a part of one. And that I didn't realize going into this. Now, I don't know if I wasn't paying enough attention when they were marketing the Heist or whatever. I didn't know that the entire City That Never Sleeps was one story being split into thirds. So not knowing that, and then getting the ending that we did to this, I was kind of disappointed. The mission ends at a point, and you think it's going to be going into a really exciting set piece, or it's about to reach the climax of the DLC, but instead they kind of give you this cliffhanger, and then it says to be continued on the screen, and I really wasn't crazy about that. Now, that might not be a problem for other people, and you know what? Yeah, good on you. I do still have some other issues that I want to bring up. But if that doesn't bother you, that's fine. Now, in the way that they handled Black Cat, I actually thought it was really good. She's not bad at all, and I like the way she interacts with Spidey. I like the way that they brought in Mary Jane, and Miles even has a little bit to do with this story, and I thought that working him in was clever. It fit in with a sort of subplot that was being discussed throughout the DLC, and him being there was a subtle way of showing that, yeah, he totally could do this if he needed to. That's all I really have to say about story for now. I know that's not saying a lot at all, but again, I think it's just going to be better covered in a full analysis of the City That Never Sleeps come December. So, yeah, what do you do in the DLC? Like, obviously, you're dealing with Black Cat, but it's not just chasing her around, and I was very, very happy about that. There is, of course, a section where you have to actually use some skill and try to, like, keep up with her and everything. And then, you know, a more classic, like, chasing Black Cat with your webs and everything. But when you get close to her, you, like, have to slow her down with your webs and everything like that. Like, they kept it fresh. They kept it going. It was varied. And actually, the variation as a whole in this DLC was pleasing. It's not a long DLC. I think I completed it, like, in 4 hours. If you take your time more, you might stretch it out to 5 or 6, but you would have to be kind of slow about it. But maybe if you were really trying to perfect a lot of the side stuff that's in here. Outside of the main stuff, you know, dealing with Black Cat and everything like that, there's a couple of new features that they brought in. There's like one new crime to go take care of out in the city, and you're using the spider bot and you're like deactivating bombs and stuff, and I thought that was neat. That was fun. bringing him into the mix, and you know, it adds a little bit more variety to the crime fighting stuff. It's not a lot, but I don't really know that it needed to be. They still have some of the general crimes, like chasing people in cars and you know, just beating up thugs on rooftops and everything like that. It's all there, and it works just fine. What I really thought was interesting was they brought Screwball back, the live streaming villain from the main game, and she probably has the most variety in this DLC. She sends you on these different missions to kind of like bring up her subscribers and everything like that. Otherwise, her fans are going to go out and riot and hurt innocent people, so Spider-Man has to comply, and it's interesting. But it's kind of some of the stuff that they make you do. You're running around trying to destroy these EMP things, you're beating up thugs, or you have to beat up thugs but only using 2 gadgets, but you have to use them together, and I thought that was fun. I would love to see that taken further in the rest of the DLC. You know, really make the gadgets matter, make us play around with them a bit more, make us use our heads. I thought that was great. But the most interesting part about it was when you had to complete a certain task within these challenges within a space called a photobomb. And at this point, if you did the right thing, then time would slow down and you would have to snap a picture of Spider-Man doing his thing at the right moment, and then, you know, Screwball would get more followers or whatever out of that. And I thought that was just a fun mechanic. That was neat. It kept things, you know, from getting too stale. You know, it's just that one extra step that needed to be there, and I thought that was great. I also like the amount of detective work that Spider-Man does in this DLC. Like, he's running around and he's trying to like reconstruct handprints to get into certain areas. He's looking at evidence at the scenes of crimes and stuff like that. The last little side quest was him talking to this detective who's sending him out looking for a bunch of paintings that were stolen and hidden by the original Black Cat, Felicia Hardy's father. So you're running around and grabbing these paintings and everything like that, but every time you grab a painting, you talk to the detective more, you learn more about the previous Black Cat. I mean, there's a plot twist in there, and it's really obvious, like a couple of conversations in, but I still thought it was pretty interesting. So you have that going for it. And I remember there was even one time I found one and then a pigeon just came in and took off with it, so I had to go chase the pigeon down. It's like those little touches of variation that keep things interesting, I think that they did well with. They did bring in some new costumes to unlock. I think they're fine. There's nothing here that I'm crazy about, like nothing like really excited me. Maybe this one a little bit. I think it looks neat, and as far as I'm aware, this was actually the original to the game. But, you know, they're fine. I think they're okay. I know a lot of people are really up in arms about, oh, we need the Raimi suit. And, like, sure, I would love the Raimi suit, but I thought the amount of suits that we got in the base game was just fine. I'm honestly, you know, not going to complain about getting extra suits. I just think that's, you know, that's a nice little bonus to get in there. In terms of presentation, it's very consistent with the rest of the game. It looks fantastic. It's great. I love it. You know, the voice acting is as solid as ever. The sound is great. Some of the new music created for like Black Cat specifically, I thought was really well done. It's very neat. It sounds great. Overall, like, what's here is good. It's good stuff. I just don't know if it's enough to please the masses. I'm not mad that I spent money on this. I don't want to sound more down on it than I am, but I do want to stress that this doesn't feel like a complete product yet. I think it will once everything's out. I think it will warrant a $24 purchase. I would wait though, but that's just my opinion. Honestly, if you want to know more about it, I will be doing a full analysis of this in December. If there's enough people that are like, no, we want an analysis of the heist now, tell us what your thoughts are, then, you know, maybe I'll buckle down and I'll make that video. But as of right now, I'm still working on some other reviews. I'm trying to move on from Spider-Man a little bit. I've had nothing but Spider-Man since mid-July, but I will probably make a video, something kind of like this, just a quick little recap when Turf Wars pops in, but I'm keeping all the big stuff for December once Silver Lining is out, and there's just more to talk about. So yeah, thank you for popping in and listening. I am working very hard on the next review. I'm hoping you guys will really enjoy it. And I will see you next mission.